Hey everybody, so I wanted to talk about Newgrounds today. I deleted my account, and before they actually didn't even have the capability to do this. But I'm going to try to keep it safe for work. It's pretty hard on the site actually. So I am a hobbyist animator, so I just do it for fun. And I actually ran into some videos on YouTube that had very, very, very good art, and I asked them, "Hey, where's a good place to get some feedback on your art?" And they said Newgrounds. I won't say in particular because I don't want anybody to be embarrassed or whatever. But also, this site does have games. They've got some pretty interesting games. Some of them aren't too bad. I do think that the site doesn't do itself any favors because there's a lot of extreme art on here that is inappropriate for anyone under the age of 18 or even over 18 really. But so I'll just stay here because I don't want to go in and actually show anything crazy. But there are very talented artists on here. My complaint was, you're giving me feedback, but I'm not doing this professionally, so don't crush all of my art to like 1 or 2 out of 5. Give me constructive feedback. There are, like I said, very good people on here, but it was just very, very difficult to get positive feedback. It was, people expected the best, and then they essentially were like, "Oh, your stuff is horrible," So that wasn't why I left, though. I actually did get a little bit better from some of the feedback. I left because the art was crazy in a lot of ways. There's a lot of dirty adult art, and I just didn't think it was healthy to be around that kind of stuff. So, looking at Newgrounds, it's been around since 1995, and it's headquartered in Pennsylvania, so Glenside, Pennsylvania. The founder is Tom Fulp. This is back to like the pre-Facebook days, way, way pre-Facebook days, like MySpace account days. And he's apparently very involved. What I've noticed about Newgrounds is they basically don't have much of a monetization schema anymore. You make very little. I had issues where my videos, only one of them was receiving monetization, and I asked why the others weren't, and I didn't get a response. And so I think a lot of the mods are volunteer. They just do this, when they have time, and they'll go in and just rip videos down, like, "Oh, this isn't 100% animated by you." Whereas YouTube, you can actually do videos that have animation on top of other things. I didn't realize it was 100% you have to animate your own product. So I walked in there, and then all of a sudden all my videos were gone. And so while that totally makes sense because their guidelines say this, it was like, whoa, you didn't warn me or anything. So it's not exactly a 100% professional site. And people will just, they seem to develop their circles. There's a lot of action around the message boards. I never really got into the message boards. I didn't have time, and I wasn't really interested. But a lot of people will go in there and they're like, "Hey, I've been on Newgrounds since 2003, and I know everything," that kind of thing. But bad things about Newgrounds. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. I don't want to have to say it. I don't know if this person's joking, but if you go in there and actually look at the content on this site, you're gonna see a lot of this except drawn, and it's unfortunate, and it's not something that I really need to have spend time on. So it wasn't that I was looking at that kind of stuff, but you would just run through these different images and you would catch a bomb and be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" So they have a lot of this stuff in there. A year or so ago, Tumblr had updated terms of service, and they got rid of a lot of dirty art, and then it ended up sending a lot of artists to Newgrounds. So Newgrounds has actually had a lot of issues with their user base. They've lost a lot of people, and they haven't really gotten to the point where their site is upgraded to cell or tablet usage in an easy way. So they don't really have a good app and all that kind of stuff. So they're losing a lot of popularity. Also, the death of Flash. So Flash kind of died and went away. Oh, geez, really? Okay, so Flash went away, and that was really what Newgrounds focused on, and so they keep it alive for the purposes of the site. But I've never had a good time getting the Flash functions to work since the software was formally archived. But anyway, I wanted to take you to a Newgrounds website review, and a lot of this is parents, but when you go to the message board, it just seems like it's a bunch of kids talking about really just I don't know, interesting stuff that I don't it really shouldn't be spending their time on. But it has very low reviews, and this is for Common Sense Media, and I very strongly suspect that this ties into their advertising, because if you go to this site at a work computer, it'll 90% of the time block it. So they probably have issues getting advertising space or revenue from that. So Newgrounds has moved to a more of a donation focus, and this was as of a couple years ago. But they're losing out on a lot of ad revenue because A, people aren't going there, and two, the site is just so inappropriate that it's blocked everywhere, and you know, people just don't want to associate themselves with that kind of thing. So what parents need to know, according to this review site: parents need to know that this is a clearinghouse for Flash content posts, uncensored, unedited, user-generated content, and it is for enthusiasts only. The site's legal terms stipulate kids 13 to 17 are supposed to have parental permission to join the site. Anyone under 18 is banned, in theory. That is not the case on the site. I would seriously take that to court. It said, sad P content permitted by people who claim to be a community and then say and do things that scream otherwise. Look elsewhere if you're seeking originality. Well, then that, getting off of the P content piece, people just straight up reproduce characters that they've seen in other genres, so like a video game character that they like. So if you have original characters, people don't really want to see it that much. Unless you're like a vintage, amazing animator, it's not going to be well received on Newgrounds. They want to see you rehash Final Fantasy VII characters or Zelda, or just stuff that's already out there. So it isn't really for original thinkers in a lot of ways. Primitive, backwards rating systems need to be fixed. The rating system needs to be overhauled. There is a huge culture of zero bombing. I wondered about this, and I wonder if this is true, because my videos would get like 4, 3, 5 stars, and then I would get 1 or half a star overall, and it's like, no, only 10 people rated it, and it was higher than that. And then the mods would never answer me. So anyway, 25 parent reviews. So parents really attack this site, for obvious reasons. Talk to your kids about, families can talk about why excessive violence in movies. Okay, so that doesn't seem like that's 100% associated with Newgrounds. A lot of the games on Newgrounds are pretty cool and safe, but I just found that spending any time on the site just didn't seem useful at this point. I mean, the site's kind of dying, and I know there's some Newgrounds likers out there, but I'm just kind of done with it. So I got rid of my account, and I deleted it because I didn't want there to be anything left up there, and that's new. I think somebody complained to them because before you couldn't delete it, you could only sign off, and that's ridiculous. You shouldn't have the capability to delete your account. But okay, so I'm going to read what this site, Common Sense Media, says. What is it about? As the original and largest Flash portal to the web, Newgrounds is a giant clearinghouse of user-generated Flash games, art, music, animation, and more, and most of the content is submitted by members voted on for rankings and best-of lists. Active discussion boards span a range of topics from Flash programming and politics to, well, everything else under the sun. Is it any good? Newgrounds definitely lives up to the motto of having everything by everyone. Unfortunately, everything means a lot of images and conversations that many parents won't want their teens exposed to, but once kids are on the site, there's little stopping the onslaught of content, the good, the bad, the ugly, from coming their way. I'm going to continue reading that. Hundreds of submissions are uploaded daily, and much of it is high-quality stuff. And the art is good on there. The content is so vast in both Flash submissions and on forums and clubs that it's anyone's guess what young Flash enthusiasts will come across. If Flash-loving teens and people really want to view the appropriate portion of the site, parents may need to dig here and there to avoid the content launch mines. I honestly think it's kind of impossible to avoid the content landmines. Everywhere you go, you just see it. So, it says this is definitely targeted toward kids, but for adults, you kind of need to understand what this is too, because I don't, I've got family around my computer all the time. I don't want them to jump on this stuff, and families can talk about excessive violence in video games, images that can be horrible to young viewers. I wouldn't worry about the violence personally. I would worry about the other stuff. The kind of content on Newgrounds makes the first 30 minutes of Clockwork Orange pale. And if you've ever seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. So, website details, genre, creating, pricing structure, free, last updated August 25th, 2016. So this is a couple years ago. So I last looked at it this year, and it's gotten, if anything, worse. And they had the they had the massive exodus from Tumblr come to Newgrounds like a year ago, a year and a half, and all of these artists still didn't really push the site to what they thought it was going to be. And if you dig into the depths of the message board, you'll see people talking about it. They're kind of like what I like to call the Newgrounds purists. They've been around a long time. They understand every dusty and dark corner of the site. And I honestly didn't really want to get into that time usage. But anyway, this was a pretty harsh review. I feel like it's kind of warranted. It really is kind of a peace site at this point, and if you feel the need, check it out. I don't really think it's, there's other sites out there that are really really good, and you can work on your animation elsewhere, but if you want to get familiar with it, go ahead and check it out. And otherwise, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I really like talking to you all. This was a fun one. I'd been planning this one for a little bit because it took me a little while. I was only on the site for a couple years, and I honestly, it was just wasn't really something that made me feel good about my time. So anyway, take care and have a good one.